Hopefully y'all didn't hear that. I clicked some random YouTube Shorts thing. It was really sus. I don't know. Hopefully it didn't pick up that audio. I never watch YouTube Shorts. Anyways, welcome. I'm still getting my setup set up, so give me like a few minutes. I'm gonna mute again, and then hopefully we can get started in a second. Yo, what's up, chat? I know literally nobody's watching right now, but hello, anyways, to the 0 viewers. um, Today I'm gonna be doing more Milkman Karlson grinding. Yeah. Yep. So we're gonna go ahead and get started. Just gonna. Okay. So let's go ahead and go over here, and I guess I'll go ahead and explain how I do things, even though literally nobody's gonna be here. So basically, the way I do this is, you would think that I would be going into like the arena and just like killing enemies over and over and over and over and over, but that would take me like literal years, I feel like, maybe even longer, to actually complete, and that would be like doing it like more regularly than I'm doing it now, probably. Um, Instead, I found a little, I don't want to say exploit, but a better way to do it, where we basically go into here, this level right here, and there's a few other levels like this, but we'll do this one for now. um, when you enter it, you pick up a gun immediately. When you restart the level, you pick up the gun again because you spawn right on top of it. So each time you restart, it gives you $1. So it basically becomes a clicker game, which, as you can imagine, is kind of repetitive. So that's why we have some Danny videos that are playing on the side that I guess I'll kind of react to. Um, by the way, let me know how the volume is. Let me know how the volume is, because I messed with the volume when I was recording something else, and I don't know where it's at right now. So, uh, tell me how my volume is compared to the video that we're watching and stuff like that. Yeah, that's actually really loud.
So tired, and there's like 2 hours left. I'm seeing double. Everything is just like a big blur. This weekend is Ludum Dare 45, which is a game jam where you have to make a game in 2 days based around a given theme. As usual with Ludum Dare, the theme was questionable. Start with nothing. That's literally every game I've ever played in the history of games. But even with such a broad theme, I'm gonna be struggling a lot to find an idea. And after an hour of not coming up with anything,
Oh yeah, I probably should write the question of the hour. So one more thing I do is every hour I put a new question pinned in the Twitch chat, and viewers can answer that if they want. Question of the hour. What should it be? Maybe, um, hmm, hmm, maybe, hmm, how far away is the nearest? Bridge. I don't know, just random stuff. Alright, there we go. Alright, back to doing whatever.
So I'm just gonna go to sleep and hopefully get going with something tomorrow. With some good rest and a clear mind,
Let me know how the
would go
volume
for
is,
a
by the way.
roguelike game. I really enjoy games such as Enter the Gungeon, The Binding of Isaac, Spelunky, and so on. So let's open up Unity and get to work. The very first thing I did, which I always do when making a game, is I made a square. Sick. Then I created a script which will be used to generate our dungeon. This was probably my first mistake. I've never done any dungeon generation before, so I'm basically just taking shots in the dark, and after spending more time than I would have liked, I got a somewhat working result. Then I set up a good old Trello list to keep track of everything that I have to do. Once that was done, I worked more on the generation script to make more interesting shapes. And of course, I also generated corridors so you can actually move between the different rooms. Okay, so we're done with all of the boring room generation stuff. Time to actually work on the player. I've already done a game about a square and a game about a circle, so of course it's only natural that this one will be about a parallelogram. Yeah, you guessed it. Just kidding, it's actually about a triangle. So first I set up the basic movement, and after that I added a dash ability. So whenever you press space, you dash, and since you're meant to start with absolutely nothing, you can't start with a gun, so you have to dash into enemies in the beginning. Then I set up a quick camera script. It's a bit jittery, but I'll fix that later on. So here's what we got so far. If you think it looks absolutely terrible, then you are absolutely correct. So let's spice up the graphics a bit. I'm gonna use Unity's post-processing stack to add some bloom and other effects, which should make things look a bit better. Then I set up a very quick menu, and as you can see, all is working perfect. I said all is working perfectly. Everything is going according to plan so far. No issues whatsoever. Okay, so we have the basics down. Now it's time to work on the actual gameplay. First off, I made a basic enemy. For now, he's just kind of following you around and looking at you, but we'll change that later. Then I put together an enemy kill effect with Unity's particle system, and here's what it all looks together when dashing through enemies. And finally, you can now take damage if you touch enemies without dashing. But now my friends are forcing me to join them in social activities and interactions, so I have to leave for a bit. Kids, don't get friends. It's bad for you and bad for your game jams. I just got back home. It's currently midnight, which means we only have 24 hours to go. That's not very good, since we have about 1 million things to do. So, as a wise man once said, hundreds of years ago, why sleep when you can work all night to finish your game jam in time? That wise man's name? Me.
No way, he's over 100 years
First off,
old.
I
That's
implemented
crazy.
shooting, so you can actually fire guns. I took some time implementing it because I wanted a good and reusable implementation. So, if I want to add a new gun, I can just go to my gun container class, add a new gun, and add the stats. Then I simply give the gun to the player through a script, and just like that, we now have a shotgun in the game. Before we go further, let's add some sound effects. I'm gonna use SFXR, which is a free sound effect generator. I also put together some super simple music in Fruity Loops, and here's what all of the audio sounds like so far. After this, I implemented a timer. The idea is, the further the timer goes, the harder the difficulty. Kind of like Risk of Rain 2, which is a super fun game. As you probably noticed by now, I'm no artist, to say the least, so I'll stick to some very simple pixel art. First, I drew a heart icon to represent the player's lives, and then a coin icon for the enemies to drop. And here you can see the new UI in-game. Currently there is no way to collect gold, so it just kinda says 0, but I swear it works. Kind of. Probably. most likely. I don't know. I spent a few more hours on fine-tuning everything, so once you enter a room, it will now close behind you, and you have to defeat all of the enemies before leaving the room. They also have a spawn animation now, so you can actually see where they're coming from, and they will drop coins once you explode them. But I think that's gonna be it for me for today. It's currently 7 a.m. in the morning, and I really need to get some sleep. I have so many things to do tomorrow, so I probably won't have time to get much sleep, but hey, as I already said, sleep is for the weak, so yeah. But time to hit the sack. See you in a few hours. So it's 12 in the noon and I slept for about 4 hours. Yeah, I'm getting pretty tired. We only have 12 hours and there's so much to do.
He's getting pretty tired.
We currently have a very unfinished game and only 12 hours to go, so let's just jump right into it. I started by making sprites for the different guns. These will eventually be dropped from chests that you can open for gold. After finishing the art, I coded in the guns and an inventory, and here is the result. You can now pick up guns and switch between your two weapons. Then I made
By the
a
way, I
chest in
forgot to
Photoshop
mention
by
at the
putting
beginning
them
of the stream, I
together,
have
and
my
after also
right
copying that
mouse
in,
button
here is the
mapped
result.
to the
It will
pause
now
button,
drop a
so I
random gun
can
where obviously the
just
better
switch
guns are
between
going
right
to
and
win
left click
tonight.
with
Then I
my
made
mouse
two more
over the
types of
restart
chests,
button,
one red and one
and
blue.
every time I
The red one will
restart,
give
I
a
pick
rare
up a pistol
weapon, and
because
the
I
blue
spawn right
ones
on
will
top
give
of
you
it, and that
upgrades.
gives me $1.
So obviously we need to work on making
I
some
mean, I already
upgrades
explained the
since we're
strategy, but
moving
I forgot to
forest
explain
anyway.
about the right mouse
And since
button
we're
thing.
running kind of low on time, let's only implement a few selected core upgrades. I decided on making a soda, which gives you higher attack speed, totally not a stolen logo by the way, a pair of sneakers, which will give you faster movement speed, and a helmet that will increase your dash ability. The thought behind the helmet is that since you dash into enemies with your head first, if you wear a helmet it works better. But it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense since you're a triangle, but I was very tired when making this, so don't judge me, okay? Anyway, here you can see the upgrades in action. They're really fun to play around with and give you some pretty crazy abilities.
But I actually decided I'm gonna like post the link to my Twitch account on the Danny
I
subreddit.
don't know how well you can see that, but it's a
Okay.
little over 6 p.m., which means we have a little less than 6 hours left. What I want to do now is I want to make sure enemies spawn, I want to make sure you can move to the next floor, and just make sure you can actually play the game properly, because currently you can't even restart when you die. So we still have a couple of things we need to do.
Yo, I'm just posting posting on the Danny Dev subreddit right now, so give me a second. I just wanna post the link to my Twitch real quick. That might
Then I added 4 new enemies, which will
more likely to find it, I guess, I don't know. Let's see here. Okay, what percentage of the way there am I? I'm at 35,000, so 500 divided by 35, 1/14th of the way there. I'll say 1/15th since that's rounded up. Okay. I'm posting it on the Danny Dev subreddit, so hopefully somebody actually oh yeah, I got a flare. Game related, sure. There we go. There we go. Alright. I'll go ahead and go back to the thing. Sorry about that. I wanted to post my Twitch on the Danny Dev subreddit, and I forgot to do it until now. I figured that might get at least some people to join. I don't know. If any here, I probably should like say like let me add like a thing that says like um, wait, okay, one sec. I'm editing the OBS thing right now. I just wanna. Just gonna all right. Hopefully that'll tell people to let me know if you want the strategy explained. I guess I don't know. I put that. Nice. Wait, no, that is right. What the heck? Why is that appearing as a closing? Whatever. Okay, the other side it's appearing from. What the actual heck? It appeared as like a opening like square bracket for the exclamation point on one of my screens for some reason. I have no idea why. I think it's showing as just an exclamation point on the other one though. So yeah, hopefully the Danny Dev subreddit will bring in maybe some people. I don't know. We'll see. Bro, oh wait, I probably should continue the video, the Danny video. Before I do, I just want to say I I'm really annoyed because I can't have Reddit notifications on my phone because I made an alt account to be able to because my main Reddit account is my old username, so I made a new account with my new username as the user tag so I could like point people to the correct user, and I for some reason, even though I never joined the subreddit on my alternate account, I keep getting recommended this one subreddit. It's completely unrelated to anything I'm interested in, and it recommends it to me for some reason. And it's like I don't know, and I get notifications when I have notifications on, so I don't know. Actually, I think that's what happened. It's been a while, so maybe I didn't turn notifications off fully. I don't remember. Haven't gotten a Reddit notification in a while, anyways. So yeah, um, yeah. By the way, as usual, let me know if you want me to explain the strategy. Let me know in chat, and I'll go ahead and explain it. Let's go ahead and continue binging Danny content, I guess, because this is a bit repetitive, obviously. By the way, let me know if the volume is okay. Let me know if, like, the volume is fine.
points, but if you get lucky, there's a chance you can get some really
Like,
rare
can you
weapons.
hear the
And
Danny
we're down
content
to
enough,
one
or
and
is
a
it
half
too loud
hours
that my
left.
voice
Here
isn't
are the
able to be
three
heard?
most crucial
Like,
things I need to
what's
get into the game before
what's
the
the
time
volume
limit.
like?
As
You
you can
know,
probably tell,
somebody
that's
could
not
tell me
going
that.
to
That'd be
happen.
good.
But the most important one I have to get done within the time
Also,
is the minimap.
Macaroni and
Or the
Games,
game
thank
is
you for
just
the
going to be straight
follow.
up bad. A dungeon game without a minimap is like a
Nice
glass
to see
without
you
milk.
here.
It's just not right. So we have to do this, and we have to do it now, or
I was
we're
thinking about
fucked.
getting in
There is
VC, but I
one
decided
huge
not to
issue
because I
though.
think
I haven't
it'd be
made a
difficult to
minimap
binge watch
before.
the Danny
I have
content,
no
which I
idea
feel
how
like
to
would
do
be
it,
way more
and we only have
entertaining.
1.5
Or maybe not.
hours.
I don't know. Maybe I'll
So
get in
I only
VC
see
once
one
I
option
finish
out of
watching
this.
all the videos.
Forgive me, Sensei, but
I
we
don't
can
know.
just go all out. Just this once.
Dramatic music, dramatic black bars. That's crazy. No way. Hacking.
And just like that, with only 6 minutes left, I managed to somehow finish the minimap. So yeah, I tried a couple of different solutions, but I really couldn't get it working how I wanted to, so here's what it looks like. Even though it doesn't show the corridors and it shows all the rooms without you actually discovering them, it still gets the job done and makes the game so much better to play than without a minimap. So even if it's kind of bad, I'm really happy I got it done in time. Now we have 1 hour to build the project, upload all of the files, and submit to Ludum Dare. You can download the game with the link in the description down below and try to get to floor 10. But I heard only elite gamers can pull that off, so good luck. Also, the source code is available on my GitHub, which you can find in the description down below, but be warned, Game Jam source code is not very pretty, so if you're a programmer with any kind of respect for yourself, please don't look at my source code. So yeah, this was definitely a rough game jam as I bit over a bit more than I could chew, but luckily I was able to finish everything in time, or at least most of it. The biggest problem is that I didn't have time to play test the game, so it's just kind of luck that it works alright and is sort of fun to play. Next time I will definitely not try to make such a big project with so limited time, especially when I have no idea how to implement any of it. But either
Yeah,
way,
you
it was a
decide
fun
to watch this
experience
time.
and I
Usually
learned
haven't
a
played
lot
Milkman
of
Karlson
things.
before.
Thanks
Yeah,
for watching
nice.
my
I'm
video.
glad
I
to
hope
see
you
you here.
enjoyed it. If you
By
did,
the way,
smash
I
like and
have
subscribe.
the question of the hour pinned um in the Twitch chat. So if you feel like responding to that, that's like a question for the viewers. Every hour I make a new one. Try to keep it somewhat related to Danny, but this one isn't like really like you don't need to know about Danny necessarily. You just need to know. You don't even need to know about it, but it's kind of related to milk because of the bonus question. I don't know. Oh, accidentally exited out. That's fun. Also, I keep forgetting to look at Twitch chat, so I'm really sorry for that. I'm actually just like switch these two around on my screen real quick, like that. Yeah, that might be better. Yeah, okay.
And if you didn't, make sure to smash dislike. As always, massive thanks to all of my supporters on Patreon. You're all amazing. That's gonna be it for me though. See you in the next one. And of course, hit your sack, slip your slap, drink your milk, and I got nothing.
Day 6 of removing toes until Danny finally uploads. You're funny. So funny. That's somebody on YouTube chat, by the way. I don't have that shown on the stream, but sometimes I'll respond to YouTube chat messages. So yeah. Also, I forgot to start recording. recording. I just realized that, so I'm gonna do that real quick. Okay. Doesn't matter that much. I still have the VOD on YouTube if I need
Meet
it.
Karlson. Karlson likes to drink milk and kick
Yay!
ass.
First Karlson reference ever. This is the 2D Karlson.
A lot of milk. 2 weeks ago was the Mix and Game Jam, where you had to create a game in 2 days, hosted by Andre. There's a link to his channel down below. And for this jam, I thought it was finally time to step up my graphics, because so far, I've only made games using simple shapes like squares and triangles, and so Karlson was born. The name Karlson is actually a reference from a book my mom used to read for me when I was a kid, called Karlson on the Roof. Now, to be fair, he didn't actually run around on rooftops shooting people, but he did have a propeller sticking out of his ass, so I'm just saying. But let's go back to the beginning and see how this game was made in only 2 days. It all started with the Mix and Game Jam theme reveal. Take a mechanic from a game and remake it in another dimension. The first mechanic that came to my mind was super hot slow motion. Whenever you stand still, time slows down, which is just really cool and makes for some super awesome bullet time. It's like Isaac Newton used to say, slow motion is dope. 2019. So the first thing we need to do is make a character to animate. I've never made a character rig or animations before, so
You gotta go, but good luck and fun for y'all. Alright, see you later, John Doe.
Photoshop. I wasn't quite sure what character to go for, so I ended up using a photo of me where I dressed up as a thug. After a while, I ended up with this thing. I don't know what to tell you. It's like it's a budget version of me in 2D, and it still looks better than me in real life, so it's kind of sad. Then I violently ripped off all of his limbs, leaving him in immense pain, only to stitch him back together in Unity afterwards as a character rig. Alright, it's time to make my first animations. Wish me luck, cause I'm probably going to need it. I started by rotating some parts here and there, and eventually ended up with a Naruto run. Perfect. Then I made the jump animation, which started with just his legs humping the ground, but finally got his legs in the air and did some sort of front flip thing. And then I connected some lines between some boxes, I don't know, mashed my keyboard a bit, and ta-da, first animation is in place. Perfect result on first try, boys. What can I say? I'm a natural. And eventually I landed on this. It's not very pretty, but it gets the job done.
Yo, fun fact, or fun little story here. When I was younger, I went to like a programming summer camp. It was like a virtual summer camp held on Zoom. Um, and somebody from the camp, one of the like people that was running it, uh, talked about the the whole thing where some people like to program boids as a challenge, which are basically they're really complicated and they require a lot of math. They're basically meant to simulate swarms of birds. And for some reason, I decided I want to try to make one, even though I didn't even look up any of the math. So obviously, I wasn't going to be able to make one. But I accidentally made the birds go into 3D, and I didn't realize that. And then so when I went into the 3D view in Unity to check out what was going on, the one of the triangles came like very quickly at the camera just by random chance, because like I said, it was random. And I literally was startled. Like I literally got jump scared uh by a triangle, and now I actually like now I and when I think about that moment, I actually like get a little stressed for some reason. It's really dumb. I don't know. Anyways, just thought that was funny.
Of course, my favorite part of any video game, ragdolls. When you die, your character turns into a ragdoll and flops all over the place. Big yes. And of course, I implemented the most important mechanic for this game, the slow motion, to give that super hot vibe. but in my game it's depending on the user inputs. This allows you to get slow motion while jumping or sliding if you just let go of left or right, which is really fun. Currently though, the run animation is questionable, so I found an image on Google about how to actually make run cycles and implemented it into my game. And there we go, he's no longer doing the Naruto run, which it's kind of sad, but probably for the better. Now the final piece of mechanic we need is sliding, because sliding is awesome, everyone likes sliding. So I slapped together a quick slide animation, and here's how it looks. That's totally how sliding works. And finally putting it all together, it looks a bit like this. It's kind of stiff, but it works for now. I also quickly added Unity's post-processing stack and implemented it with the slow motion, so there's some more visual feedback whenever you enter and exit slow motion. It is time to make some guns, because this game needs some pew-pew. And I already made a lot of gun assets for my previous game that I made last weekend, and since you're allowed to use pre-made assets, I'm just gonna recycle them, because hashtag save nature. And after a bit of programming, we ended up with some functional shooting. You can even shoot enemies, which aren't really enemies yet, so you're just kind of shooting yourself, but the idea is there. Now let's add some particles to cover up my mistakes and bad graphics and pretend the game looks good. So I added a blood particle effect as well as a muzzle flash for the actual shooting, and here it is in action. Just like Albert Einstein once said, if your game looks bad, just add some particles or something, it's gonna make it look better. Time to make an enemy model so you're not just running around shooting clones of yourself. Even though some of you would probably get a lot of satisfaction out of destroying Danny clones, it doesn't look very good gameplay wise. After I finished the enemy, I realized he low-key looks like Dr. Disrespect, and then I put him into the game, added some camera shake and more blood because you can't really get enough blood effects, and we already have some pretty good looking stuff. But it's not quite fair of me to abuse him like this, so I gave him the ability to fight back. But that was a mistake because now I'm the one being abused, and I can't let that happen, so I kept fighting him until I eventually got him good. Yeah, get And of course, it's not really an epic action slow-mo shooter without windows breaking and glass flying everywhere. So I made some glass explosion using Unity's particle system, and it turned out really cool until Dr. Disrespect ruined everything. Sound effects. As usual, I'm gonna use SFXR, which is a free sound effect generator to make my sounds. And here's what it sounds like so far. Another very important detail is being able to tackle enemies by sliding into their legs. So you can now pop them up into the air by sliding into them and shooting them mid-air. Very much yes. Then I made a quick little house with some enemies and windows to showcase what the game looks like so far. And now we have around 26 hours left, so let's actually get a main menu into the game because that's kind of important so you can actually play. So here is a very basic menu I came up with. You can also restart when you die or go back to the main menu. But we're starting to run kind of low on time, so we really need to start working on stages for the game, so there actually is some gameplay. I worked on a few of them, and here you can see stage 3. Pretty fun, kind of cool, I don't know. And since we're working on stages, we need to add some fun props. And you know what makes any game better? Explosions. Yes, I started by making a barrel in Photoshop, and then I made an explosion particle effect, which is probably my sickest one so far. I'm not supposed to give my personal opinion, but it looks pretty f***ing sick. And then I polished some of the animations a bit to make them smoother and added a new animation for when you're free falling in the air, and I also added a little effect to the sliding so it looks a bit more juicy. And with that, I am going to call it the end of day 1. Hit the sack because it's currently 5 AM and I'm pretty tired. And I want to sleep. It is day 2 and the clock is currently 12 in the afternoon, which means we have about 11 hours to go as the jam ends at 11 PM. Now, one of the most fun mechanics in Superhot is being able to throw your weapon at enemies and also grab enemies' weapons mid-air after taking them out. So in order to implement all of this, I set up a list of everything we need to do for this to work. And here is the result. You can now throw and pick up weapons, and if you take out an enemy, his weapon will come flying towards you, which is really cool, so you can kind of grab it in the air, or however you want to. It's pretty fun. And of course, since we're working on weapons, we need to add melee weapons as well to spice it up a bit. So the first melee weapon I'm adding is obviously
I'm gonna check how much I got. 37,546. Nice.
History.
So,
If my memory serves me right, I think during World War II, the banana was the most used melee weapon
we're
across like
about
all
on
nations.
pace
So
for
obviously
how
I'm
we
gonna have to
normally
add it to
are,
the
I
game.
think. Normally I go for about 10,000 a day,
Also added Thor's
and
hammer,
that was
because
like
why not? Whenever you throw it at someone, it comes back to you.
like
And you
30
can throw
minutes,
it
and
again.
normally it takes me
Okay,
about
we're
2
looking
hours,
good so far, but
and
we
we're about
only
like
have
a
about
fourth of the
6
way
hours
to the
left,
next
and there
thing.
are many things
Or
left
no,
to
wait.
do. The biggest one is
Oh wait,
to
yeah.
add more
Yeah,
stages,
we're
but
a fourth
first we
of
need
the
to
way,
fix
so.
up some of the UI. Now luckily fixing the UI didn't take very long, so let's make as many stages as we can before the time runs out. But one last thing before working on the stages, let's add some more guns, because guns are fun. So I used some more of the models from my previous video, and here we go. They all have different stats, so bullet speed, bullet spread, bullet amount. It's pretty fun to play around with. Okay, but now it's time to finally work on adding these last few stages before the time runs out.
Once I finish binging all of the Danny videos, by the way, I'll probably join VC for the rest of the streams. Like get in a voice chat and people can join if they want. Um, that's the plan at least, because at some point I'm gonna run out, obviously, because most of these are Danny clips, so there's not actually 342. Oh God, there's not actually 342 of them. The heck did I just do? I broke it.
With 7 minutes left before the deadline, I submitted.
That's okay.
Meet
I don't know
Karlson.
what I just
Karlson
did.
likes to drink milk and kick ass, and
Come
he's
on.
all out of milk.
Come on. No, this thing is so slow.
My sounds. And banana, because it's currently 5 a.m. and so far. I'm not supposed to give my personal opinion, but it looks pretty f***ing sick. And then I polished some of the animations a bit to make them smoother and added a new animation for when you're free falling in the air, and I also added a little effect to the sliding so it looks a bit more juicy. And with that, I am going to call it the end of day 1. Hit the sack, because it's currently 5 a.m. and I'm pretty tired. And I want to sleep. It is day 2 and the clock is currently 12 in the afternoon, which means we have about 11 hours to go as the jam ends at 11 p.m. Now, one of the most fun mechanics in Superhot is being able to throw your weapon at enemies and also grab enemies' weapons mid-air after taking them out. So in order to implement all of this, I set up a list of everything we need to do for this to work. And here is the result. You can now throw and pick up weapons, and if you take out an enemy, his weapon will come flying towards you, which is really cool, so you can kind of grab it in the air, or however you want to. It's pretty fun. And of course, since we're working on weapons, we need to add melee weapons as well to spice it up a bit. So the first melee weapon I'm adding is obviously a Banana, because we all know that's one of the strongest melee weapons known to man throughout history. If my memory serves me right, I think
Banana.
during World War II,
No
the
way,
banana
the
was
Gucci banana. No way.
the most used melee weapon across like all nations. So obviously I'm gonna have to add it to my game.
Do people even use melee weapons like at all in
I
Modern
also added
Wars,
Thor's
or do
hammer
they
and
only
there
use
because
guns?
why not?
They probably only
You
use
throw it at someone,
guns,
it
right?
comes back to you and you can throw it again. Okay, we're looking good so far, but we only have about 6 hours left and there are many things left to do. The biggest one is to add more stages, but first we need to fix up some of the UI. Now luckily fixing the UI didn't take very long, so let's make as many stages as we can before the time runs out. But one last thing before working on the stages, let's add some more guns, because guns are fun. So I used some more of the models from my previous video, and here we go. They all have different stats, so bullet speed, bullet spread, bullet amount. It's pretty fun.
By the way, my internet's
But
been
now it's time to
having
finally work on adding
problems
these last
sometimes
3
lately at
stages
random
before the
points, so
time runs
if the
out.
stream ever randomly stops, that might be why. I don't think it's gonna happen, but it
And with
might,
7 minutes
so...
left before the deadline, I submitted the game. If you want to try it out for yourself, you can download it on itch.io with the link in the description for Windows, Mac, and Linux. This is probably my best game jam so far, and I'm very happy with the result. It's definitely a project I might work more on in the future, and actually turn into kind of a small game for release, if that's something anyone would be interested in. So let me know in the comments if anyone would like to see this turning into like Karlson the game, because I think that could be fun. I might also eventually stream some development and other stuff on Twitch, so if you're interested in seeing that, you can follow me on twitch.tv/DannyMilkman, link down below. Also follow me on Twitter because I need to flex more, and join our Discord server or I will smash you. And finally, I want to say massive thanks to Andre from Mix and Jam for hosting this amazing game jam. I really had fun with it, probably my most fun game jam so far, and there's a link to his channel down below, which you should 100% check out. He posts some really good quality videos. Just go check it out, he's really cool. But that is going to be it for me. Thanks for watching my video. Make sure to smash like and subscribe if you liked the video, and smash dislike if you didn't. And of course, drink your milk, hit the sack, and don't be whack.
Okay, we got the Mr. Beast video next, that's great. Yay.
One very important thing when growing trees is to never step on the saplings, because they're extremely fragile. Don't you just hate it when you try to breathe but there's no oxygen and then you're like, oh fuck, I can't breathe, and then you die? I hate that too, but luckily for you, I have the solution. Trees. Last week, Team Trees was announced, which is possibly the biggest YouTube event ever, organized by Mr. Beast and a lot of other big YouTubers to plant 20 million trees within 29
Man, that gives me nostalgia actually, because like that was like a few years ago. Why does that give me nostalgia? That shouldn't give me nostalgia, but it does. Maybe it's just because I was like really young back then compared to now. Like I escalated in maturity very quickly.
That didn't really work out. Now the other option is to donate, and you can donate to teamtrees.org, and every dollar equals 1 tree. So
Crazy.
if you donate like $50, that's like at least 10 trees. It's a lot of trees. It's pretty cool. Now, I don't really have $1 million lying around like Elon Musk, so I can't really donate that much. But then it came to me, the perfect idea. A genius way for me, and even you watching this video, to help donate to Team Trees. Okay, hear me out. A game about planting trees. And you're probably thinking, how the f does that help? Well, we'll get to that very soon. So, here's what happened. I sent a message to my friend Evan, and I was like, hey Evan, I need some music for my tree game. Sure, I'll cook up some good music. And I was like, nice. And then I was like, okay, time to make a game. And then I made the game. Kapow. And then I put Evan's music into the game. Game with music. You play as Mr. Beast, and your goal is to, well, plant trees. I know, it's super creative. You can even unlock a bunch of characters like PewDiePie to water your trees with G fuel, which makes them grow quickly. Obviously, that's basic science. Everybody knows trees like G fuel. That's how it works, right? Or you can buy Mark Rober, who will fly around on his drone and plant trees. Or perhaps Davey 504, who will dig holes in the ground with his guitar. Or maybe Elon Musk, who is running around and planting trees for you. I mean, the possibilities are endless. Actually, there's only like 10 characters, so they're not really endless. Actually, the possibilities are like 10, so yeah. So back to the question you're still probably asking yourself, how the f does that help? Well, I'll tell you right now, buddy. The game is available on Android, so if you have one, you can go ahead and download the game right now with the link in the description down below. And all of the ad revenue during November and December will be donated towards teamtrees.org. So technically, you can plant real trees by planting virtual trees. Big brain. The game is also available for Windows, Linux, and Mac. Unfortunately, though, there are no ads for PC, so the only way to really support in that way is through Android. Unfortunately, I could not get it for Apple in time because it just takes way longer to get your app on Apple than it does for Android. So that kind of sucks, but that's just how it is. So while downloading the game, keep watching because we're about to dig into how I made this masterpiece of shit. So I started by making a Trello list to keep track of everything I need to do. And the very first thing on that list is to put Mr.
Okay,
Beast.
bro, I swear, I keep getting OneDrive notifications, right? They like tell me, look back at your memories from a few months ago. And they have like the stupidest images as the as the like thing. Like a while back apparently I downloaded the thumbnail for one of Xnick's daily GD 2.3 news or something, and or 2.2 news, and for some reason like it just decided that was the best image to show me first when asking me if I wanted to look back at my memories. Windows is fucking weird.
Our protagonist into the game. So I quickly put him together in Photoshop, rigged him in Unity, made some quick animations, and programmed in some movements. And just like that, Mr. Beast can now move around in the world. Next up, it would be pretty cool if you could actually plant trees. So in order to do that, I made a quick grid system that will keep track of the trees and the holes in the ground. And after some quick coding, you can now dig holes into the ground. You don't even need a shovel, you just use your psychic powers. It's pretty cool. And of course, we need something to put into the holes, so I made a thick tree in Photoshop, did some more programming, and you can now stuff trees into the holes. But nothing is really happening after you stuff the trees in, so I did even more coding, and the trees are now growing. Amazing. You probably didn't know, but it's a scientifically proven fact that by cuddling with trees,
How's it going?
definitely grow faster. Then I made a shovel and a
By the way,
system so you can throw the
by the
shovel.
way, I guess YouTube chat can't really see this, but we have this question of the hour in the Twitch chat, which you can answer if you want. It basically is just, you know, something you can answer in the chat while we're being bored. I don't know. And we're also binging Danny comments. By the way, let me know if any of you want me to explain the strategy we're doing.
So I made
Obviously.
an actual digging animation, added some particles.
Merry
And
Christmas.
just like that, you can now
Sure.
dig a proper hole and stuff a tree into it. And it will grow, just like real life. It's crazy. Now, one very important thing when growing trees is to never step on the saplings, because they're extremely fragile. God fucking... Did you know that water consists of like 99% water? Probably not. Anyway, because of this, we're going to add water into the game so you can grow the trees faster, because trees like water. So I added into the game, and just like that, you can now water the trees with a water can, just like real life. Then I made a quick shopkeeper who will sell you trees and some other small stuff, and some helpers. For now, you can only buy Chandler from Mr. Beast, who will run around and dig holes for you, and he's not very good at finding places to dig, so for the most part, he just kind of runs forth and back. I started the day off with a quick workout session, and then got home and started streaming development at twitch.tv.
What's the strat? You never seen that? Okay, I'll go ahead and explain it. So basically, basically, you would think, right, that I would go the typical way and just like go into an arena and shoot enemies for like literal years because that's probably how long it would take. Um, but instead, I decided to be kind of smart, uh, which I found out that if you go into this level, or there's a few levels where it happens, if you go into like any of these levels, these three levels, when you first spawn in the level, you pick up a pistol because you spawn right on top of it, and then that gives you $1. So it basically becomes a clicker game, which is why we have some Danny content playing in the background, and we also have I'm also interacting with chat. If anybody in chat says anything, then I kind of respond to it. We can have a conversation if anything starts, any conversation starts, because it is obviously a bit repetitive. And currently, I think we're like 1/15th or 1/14th, 1/13th way the other way there. I don't remember. I said 1/15th in the Reddit post I made, but it was actually more like 1/14th. I just decided to round it, but round it up. But same thing essentially. Very very small difference.
And we got to work on making more helpers during the stream. So first up, we made Mark Rober, who will fly around on a drone and plant trees, just like in his video. Well, I guess technically he wasn't actually standing on
Also, yeah, feel
so
free to answer the
we
question
went
of the
away from off
hour
cameras,
in
happens.
the pinned
And
in the
after that,
Twitch
we
chat.
made
Also, we have a
Jesse,
new
who's
question of
currently
the
in
hour
the
coming
desert
up in a
and
few
will walk
minutes,
around and
so
water your trees.
probably want
And
to do
finally,
that
we got
quickly.
Jake from Mr. Beast in there who will help you collect your trees, so you don't have to do it yourself.
Oh,
And
he's
then after the
giant.
stream, I got to work on some save files so you can save your progress, which didn't take very long as I've done this before. And finally for today, I made Linus from Linus Tech Tips, and once you buy him, he will set up a new shop where you can buy upgrades once I get to implement that. But one more thing before I go to sleep, I added Keemstar, the garden gnome, who will boost your tree growth by 50%. Perfection. But it's been a long day, so it's finally time to hit the sack.
Yo, thank you, Nospsych4W, for the follow.
One of the biggest problems with the game
Glad
so
you
far is that
joined me
once
on
you
this
grow a
journey
tree,
that will
you just
probably take
cannot
like
get
another
out.
40
It
or
just
so
disappears.
streams.
So the solution I landed on was to put all the trees you grow into the background so you can actually see your progress. This makes more sense than the trees just disappearing, since the goal of the entire event is to plant trees, and if they just go away, it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. After this was done, I got to work on making more trees and adding them to the shop so you can now buy more expensive ones. They will take longer to grow, but will also give more money back, so it's kind of like an investment, I guess. Big brain stuff. And of course, I made some quick sound effects using SFXR. And now before
Alright,
we
it's
go into
almost time
September,
for a
I
new
need to
question
know
of the hour, so if anybody wants to answer the current question of the hour pinned in the Twitch chat, now would be the time.
this work on mobiles as quickly as possible so I can submit it to Google Play Store and get it reviewed as soon as I can. It's currently Monday and I want this video up by Friday or Saturday, which means we have about 4 to 5 days for Google to review the app if I manage to submit it now. So let's hope all goes well. And I got it working on my phone quick enough, and after a lot of messing around and polishing, I sent out a somewhat working version to the Google Play Store. So now we just wait for Google and pray that they review it in time, and hopefully they do. But that is going to be it for me for today. I'm gonna go hit the sack and continue tomorrow. It's day 4 and this will be my final day of work before finishing the project, which means
Alright, there is a new question of the hour coming real quick. Y'all can feel free to keep answering the current one if you were already like typing or something. Let me think of a question of the hour. Question of the hour. Um, how frequently do you watch game development content? And do you watch many? Do and do you only watch Danny or do you watch others too? Actually, I'll save that second one for another question of the hour. Pretend that's a question mark.
So I sent out some copies of the game to some people on my Discord server who helped test it out a bit. There's a link to our server down below, by the way. You should totally check it out. And also, massive shout out to Evil.
All the time? Nice,
many
nice.
hours testing my game and giving me great feedback.
Yeah, I love watching game development YouTubers. Jonas Tyroller is awesome. I'm a part of the community for one of his games, which is kind of cool.
The most expensive one, obviously, being the banana tree, because that's top tier. And I also added 4 new characters, where Elon Musk is the most expensive one, as a tribute to Elon, since he donated $1 million to the cause, which is absolutely amazing. Anyway, here you can see them in action. Davey504 will dig up holes with his guitar. PewDiePie will water them with his G Fuel, which, you know, it totally makes sense because trees love G Fuel. Alan Walker, who also donated like $100,000, he walks around and picks up trees for you.
You cannot hear the video? Oh wait, you can't? Really? That's weird. I didn't realize that. You should be able to. If I don't talk, are you able to hear it?
For Google to review the app, which is honestly kind of nerve-wracking.
Hold on, let me pull it up on my phone real quick.
I'll have to delay the game and this video by a lot, like until next week, so I really need this out by Saturday.
I'm gonna pull it up on my phone just to see.
So it's currently Friday, and I had actually given up on trying to get the game out by Saturday.
I'm gonna pull it up on my
friend, the Dutch Magic Card, sent me a DM and showed.
Yeah, it isn't playing on the thing for some reason. That's really weird, because it shows as playing for me. Well then. Let me try turning it up a bit, maybe? If I try turning it up a bit, it might be a bit better. I don't know. I might have just had it so low it wasn't playing. Maybe. I don't know.
The game was actually live, and so I went ahead and checked it, and as you can see, oh god. I don't know why there are so many black
Okay, yeah,
bars,
now I
as
think
you can
you can
see,
hear it, probably.
it's actually published.
Let me know if
today,
the volume's
which is
good or
just
if I
in
need to
time.
adjust
So
the volume.
that's perfect.
For, like, can you
I'm really
hear
happy.
me
That's
alright
great.
over him?
So yeah,
Or
that means we
can you,
can
or am
get
I
this video up
too,
on Saturday, which is
or is he too
exactly what I
quiet
wanted, so
that
that's
you
great.
can't hear
That is
him when
actually
I'm not
amazing.
talking? Like,
So here
I
you
want
can
to
see
get
the
a
app.
good
It
balance
is
of
live
that.
on the Play Store.
It's good? Alright.
And if we go ahead and
I'm gonna assume that yes,
should work,
that means it's good.
hopefully. So there we go. And as you can tell, everything is working smoothly.
It's perfect?
So
Alright,
that was
awesome.
pretty close, but we barely just did it. So Evan King just finished the soundtrack for the game, which is absolutely dope. He is a really talented artist. There is a link to his channel down below. You should totally check it out. So I will put this new music into the game and then just make sure everything is updated and publish that version to Google Play, and then we should be ready to go live. So there it is. If you have an Android, make sure to check out the game with the link in the description down below, or just search for it, I guess, I don't know. And as already mentioned, all of the ad revenue from this game during November and December will be donated towards teamtrees.org, so you can help out by literally just playing a game. And you can also download for Windows, Mac, and Linux, but there are unfortunately no ads there. Or just go to teamtrees.org and donate there. I would encourage anyone watching this video to donate just a tiny bit. Every little bit helps, even if it's just $1. I will be donating $100 as I don't have thousands of dollars to throw away, but hopefully we can raise a bit more together with this app. So that's really going to be it. I want to say thank you a lot for watching my video. I really appreciate it. If you enjoyed it, then smash like and subscribe, and if you didn't, then smash dislike. Massive thanks to all my supporters on Patreon. You guys absolutely rock. And as always, drink your milk, hit the sack, and plant some trees because it's good for the environment and stuff. And I like breathing, so we should probably plant some trees. I don't know.
Sorry. I had to adjust the pinned message so it didn't go away after 20 minutes. I realized I had forgotten to do that. It's really weird that it goes away in 20 minutes by default.
So I started the simulation this morning. I totally forgot it was running and came back like 10 hours later, and the result is pretty damn crazy. Before we get started, this video is sponsored by Audible. Stick around to the end of the video to hear more about it, and also for a little surprise. So a while ago, I saw this really cool video from CodeBullet about an AI learning to walk by itself, which I found super fascinating. Now, I have an obsession with stickmen and physics, so it got me thinking, would it be possible for an AI stickman to learn to walk or run like a human by itself? I think the biggest challenge here will be for the stickman to balance itself. I mean, not to take away from Mr. CodeBullet or anything, but let's be real here, boys. That's just a box with legs, and it's a known fact that boxes with legs don't need a whole lot of balance. So since we're working with a sloppy ragdoll here and not a box, we need to make it balance well so it doesn't fall over, which might be a bit tough to get working. But hey, like Abraham Lincoln once said, if it's tough to get it working, just get it working, you dumbass. So first things first, let's make a stickman ragdoll. I'm currently working on a stickman game, which I'm still taking a break from, so I have a bit of experience.
How did it go from like,
already.
how did
so
the count I see on
really
Twitch go from 4 viewers to 2 views to 4
face.
viewers in like
Let's call him Billy.
10 seconds? I don't know how that's possible.
Now Billy is currently lobotomized, so we need to give him a brain.
Anyways,
and
thank
this
you all
is where
for
the neural
watching.
network comes into play.
I'm not
Basically,
in
a neural
stream.
network
I'm just
is a
thanking you for
very
watching.
simple
Okay, back to
artificial
2
brain.
viewers now.
This
I
means
have
we can
no
give
clue
this
what
simple
it's
brain
doing.
to Billy, and he can use it to learn to walk.
Probably gonna
Well,
stay
at least
2
that's the
viewers now,
plan.
though.
This is great because then Billy will teach himself to do it, so I don't have to do it because, duh, I'm not a teacher. I don't have time to teach someone to walk. Come on. So let's make his brain. For starters, in order for Billy
Also,
to
I think
balance,
one of those
he needs some information. Now
I just
we're
realized
gonna
I have
tell
it
him the
pulled up on my
rotation of his
phone. Let me
torso
get
and
rid
his
of that.
legs,
It's probably
as
gonna
well
go
as the
down.
speed they're
Okay,
moving.
now we're at 3.
He
It's
can't
probably gonna
see
go
or
down
feel
2.
anything,
No,
so it's
something.
kind of like
I don't
having
know.
your eyes closed and having some
I don't know.
weird dude whisper a bunch of numbers into your ears, and based on that information, you have to learn to walk. Yeah, it's not easy being Billy. And we're also gonna give him a room.
Dang,
The further
original
you get,
Billy.
the more
Actually, I
points
thought
you
I
receive.
think the
And if
original
you get a
Billy
good
was
score,
like some
you get to
other
live, but if you get a bad
AI
score,
thing,
you
but
die.
like from an earlier video.
Anyway, we'll be
video,
running the
but
simulation
yeah,
with
this is
20
the
different
second
Billys, but
version of
only show
Billy,
the
I
best
guess,
one, so it's not such a mess.
in
But
this
before we go
video.
any further, let's spice up the graphics a bit, because it looks kind of stale at the moment. So first I added some ground and grass, because ground and grass is pretty tight. Then I made a little sign and placed it into the world, and my goal is to make Billy run 50 meters within 15 seconds without falling over, and even I can't do that in real life, so it would be pretty impressive if Billy could. So is it even possible? Well, there's only one way to find out. I also made a new ragdoll because the old one was very square. Someone probably told him to be there or be square, and he wasn't there, so he'd be square, and it do be like that sometimes. And he's quite a bit shorter as well, which is done intentionally because it's easier to balance a short boy as opposed to a long boy because of center of mass and all that science stuff. I don't know. And here you can see the new and improved Billy in action. He's more flexible,
Okay,
he's
down to
more
2 viewers
handsome,
now. Okay, that makes sense.
he's still dumb,
I was gonna
but
say,
that's fine.
I thought
Eventually he
that
figured out that twerking is a
thought
good way
that
to
one
move
of the viewers
forward,
would be on
and
my
I
phone,
mean,
and I
he's
closed
not
it,
wrong.
and then we
But
went
okay,
to
so
2
the
viewers,
play
so I
field
thought
is ready, we
down
got
to
our
2
sick new
viewers.
graphics and our sick new
After
Billy,
that,
and
and
the only
finally
thing
happened.
missing now is to make Billy's brain bigger. But before we make Billy smarter, let's just run the simulation right now and see what happens. So Billy starts
In about
off
2
strong with a
minutes, I'll go
juicy
ahead and
face
check
plant.
how much
The next
how much
generation, he
money I
figured out he
have.
was
The
just
money
gonna sit
count.
down and wobble forward. And after 100 generations, apparently wiping your ass along the floor is Billy's winning strategy. But he can't even make it past 15 meters, so we're gonna have to put Billy to sleep. So the main problem we encountered here is Billy is not punished for shoving his face or ass into the dirt, and so we're gonna give him one very simple rule. If you touch the ground with anything other than your feet, you die. Hopefully this should prevent him from sitting down. It definitely would prevent me from sitting down. Actually, I would gladly sit down instantly. Anyway, let's run the simulation and see how Billy will adapt to overcome this challenge. At first, there's no real difference other than the fact that he dies when falling over, but he quickly learns that by falling forward and eating grass instead of falling backwards and eating grass, he can get more distance. And fast forward 23 generations, and would you look at that, Billy now has some sort of walk. So I sped up the simulation even more, and here is the result of generation 175. It's actually pretty good, but it's not really a proper walk or run because he's just kind of sliding his legs across the floor. The reason this is possible is because there is no friction on his feet. So let's make it more realistic for Billy and activate proper realistic friction. So with our new friction, I restarted this simulation and went to get some dinner, and when I came back, the simulation had gone for like 2,000 generations, and Billy had learned a rather interesting way of walking. So apparently with higher friction, Billy figured out he would become a crab.
To the video,
now this video is not about teaching a crab how to walk, but a stickman how to walk, so we need to make some changes here. The main reason he can walk like a crab is, well, because he can. His legs can bend really far, so I limited the maximum angle of which they can bend, so he is forced to stand up more and not become a crab, because it kinda sucks. So let's start the simulation again with these changes, and I also gave him some arms to make him look a bit less creepy and more human. As usual, he starts off by eating dirt, very nice. But around generation 40, Billy has some sort of walkie going for him, which is exactly what we wanted. Now he just needs to work on making it better. He kept working and he would fall over most of the time, but no matter how many times he fell, no matter how many times he face planted, Billy got back up and Billy kept trying. And then he failed and ate more dirt, but yeah, he tried. And finally, after 100 generations, he has learned how to walk without eating dirt. But it's still not really what I want, and after 200 generations, they're somewhat running, but only made it to 30 meters, so we still need to make some tweaks. After messing a bit with Billy's brain, he got back to training again, but this time, Billy is done playing games. He's going for that 15-meter mark.
你这个可以在随你的 fault。
Sorry, my mom walked into my room. Get back to watching the video.
And after blood, sweat, tears, and 500 generations of training, it was time for Billy to prove himself. And ladies and gentlemen, there it is. Billy managed to not only talk the talk, but also walk the walk. Quite literally, because you know, he walked the 50 meters, so he walked the walk. Yeah. Now, this is good and all, but I think he can do much better, and I'm not quite happy with the results, so the day after, I made some minor changes, started another simulation, and then I went to get some lunch and hit the gym, and I totally forgot that the simulation was running. Before I show you the final result of Billy's training, do you want to know how Billy learned so fast? Well, he was listening to audiobooks, of course. You might not have noticed to the audiobook, like a motivational. You can in the comment section, and it's a really good learn. But how can you be best and actually better?
I love sponsorships, so fun. I love spamming the right arrow button to skip over.
Did you click it? Good. So let's check it. This morning I totally forgot it was running and came back like 10 hours later, and the result is pretty damn crazy. So you can see 10,000 generations.
Dude, what is that flickering on the monitor?
I'll give a bad example. So there's the result of 10,000 generations and a lot of training. It's probably as good as Billy is going to get, and I'm quite happy with the result. He's probably running faster than I am, so I'm not complaining. Good job, Billy. If you liked the video, then make sure to smash like and subscribe, and if you didn't, then smash dislike. But let's be real here, boys, how can you not like this video? I mean, come on, it's made by me. Also, massive thanks to my Patreon supporters. You guys are all great. I like you very much. And yeah, I think that's gonna be it. As always, make sure to drink your milk and hit your sack, and yeah, I'm gonna go now. Hey då!
I'm gonna assume my mic turned back on, right? Yeah, okay. Thought so. So I muted it a second ago. Just want to make sure it came back on.
And upload. Man, making a game in one day was crazy. I sure don't hope anyone challenges me to make a game in an even shorter time span, like say for example 1 hour. I mean, that would just be ridiculous. So since we only have like 1 hour this time around, we're gonna make a super simple game with one very simple mechanic. And one game that does this really well already is Flappy Bird. So I'm gonna take a lot of inspiration from Flappy Bird. Hey Flappy Bird, can I copy your homework? Yeah, sure, just, you know, change it up a bit, make it not so obvious. Yeah, for sure, yeah, I'll change it, yeah, of course, yeah. I mean, yeah, sure. Hey, yeah. First things first, I made a new project in Unity, and then before doing anything else to keep track of everything I need to do, I made a Trello list on Trello.com. And if I see another comment asking me what this website is, I swear to God I will probably hurt. Let's make the art for the player model. The idea is that you control a rocket instead of a bird because, duh, rocket cool, bird dumb. Then I slapped the rocket into Unity and gave it physics. Now let's do the movement. So the controls are going to be super simple. Hold down a button to accelerate the rocket and release it to make it fall. We're also going to make it rotate towards its velocity, which is going to look a little something like this.
Alright, so we're like halfway there, I think.
It looks a little something like this.
Gonna take like
very nice.
A little over
Rockets
2 hours.
make big smoke. So I made some smoke with the Unity particle system and put it into the game, and our rocket now poops smoke as it goes.
Actually, I think I'm gonna end the stream for now.
Squares are cool, so I
need
used some squares to make some roof and some floor, and if you
going
crash
on vacation, I'm going on vacation tomorrow, and I might not even be able to stream very much, if at all, for like another week or so. So just keep that in mind. I'll try to if I can, but there's gonna be people coming over, so you know, might not be able to. I don't know. But obviously I'll get right back to it when I get back. And yeah, I'll see y'all later, I guess. Yeah. And I might do another stream later today, maybe, if I have time. Alright, bye.